We are reading a hand of a particular person who is aged 50, and before I start my video, I would request you to press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update. You can call me or you can email me if you wish to take the reading from me. And now we straight away head to this particular hand image that we see out here. He's age 50. So first I'm going to take a look at his left hand, and I would be trying to look at various aspects of the palm and tell you what basically I see on his palm. Generally, everybody wants to know about their career, their money and wealth and name and fame, all these kind of things. So first, basically, we are going to look at the headline. Each and every line are important. See, this is the money line. I'm just drawing over the hand image. These are the money lines before the age of 35. Below the headline, this is below the headline, so this is before the age of 35. So this is when the line is a little bit inconsistent, and before the age on the headline also, if you find that the line of head is a little bit disturbed before the age of 35, so lots of disturbances could have been there, mental disturbances could have been there, and financial issues could also have basically cropped up during that particular period of the life. I won't say that it was totally bad, but few problems could have been there in his life. And when the line of head has got island-like formations, this is all at a very early age, somewhere at the age of 20, and the headline also is a little bit unclear. It's kind of a dual, and it's going it is having like island-like formations, and just below the area of mount of Saturn, this is the mount of Saturn, this is where the line is disturbed. So mental disturbances could have been there before the age of 35. And even after the age of 35, if we take a look, there are a few backward lines from the headline moving towards the area of Mars. This is the Mars negative area, and Mars negative area is the area of anger, aggression and fire. So if anger and aggressions come into a person's mind, the chances for making wrong decisions increases. So the person should basically cool down, and that's when better decisions can come about. But it's not everything wrong. Even at that particular age, in the initial period of their life, the person has got few upward lines from the lifeline moving towards the area of Jupiter. Jupiter is a big planet. Big planet means expansion, growth in one's life. And if the lifeline or any other line moves, even the headline moves towards the mount of Jupiter, it means that that area could have been productive, and that period of life could have been with lots of benefits coming to this particular person. This is all happening in the early 20s. So this is what I see. Now we look at basically we look at the heart line. Heart line is also a very important line to refer to. Heart line basically tells a lot about what basically is going on in our life. Are we being able to commit ourselves totally in our life or not? And if our heart line is not distinct and clear, this is basically the heart line I'm referring to. This is basically the heart line I'm referring to. And if the heart line is not distinct and clear, it has got few islands over it, these islands and branches over it, and there are few branches over this particular heart line. This basically means distractions, and distractions is basically not a good sign to have. If a person is basically distracted and is not being able to focus, the negative aspect can play about in this particular person's life. So a person has to commit themselves to one particular thing, and if a person makes multiple goals, this is the heart line. If there are few branches over the if there are many branches over the heart line, it means the person is not being able to commit himself to one particular field of area. So this is what is depicted by the heart line that is not distinct and clear. The heart line, whenever it's very deep and clear, whenever the heart line is very distinct and clear, it basically signifies that the person is able to commit himself. So this is basically because there are branches over the heart line, it means the person is not being able to commit themselves, and the person is not being able to focus their energies to a singular goal. Although the good aspect about the heartline, see, heartline can tell also about our money matters. So heartline is ending somewhere on the mount of Saturn. This is basically the mount of Saturn, and every businessman, if they have the heartline ending on the mount of Saturn, it is considered to be a good sign, because it tells, are we angling towards money or are we not? Do we like value money or not? So a heartline that ends on the mount of Saturn, it means that the person basically values money. So a person who values money, the chances basically increase that they would get more money in their life. So this is what I see in the left hand. On the left hand, if we look at the mount of Mercury, so this is the mount of Mercury. It has got very light kind of lines, very barely visible kind of lines that we see, perpendicular kind of lines. Perpendicular kind of lines are considered to be good because mount of Mercury basically represents skill, and perpendicular lines mean that the person has got skills. But the light lines that we see out here, light lines basically signify that the person is not being able to sharpen those skills, and the person needs to sharpen those skills to make their life much better. So I would basically suggest this to this particular person, that they should basically try to commit themselves and sharpen the skills. This is when things are going to be much better. So this is what the left hand is showing. See, the difference between the left hand and the right hand is left is the hand of past, right is the hand of present. But it's not like that we basically ignore the left hand. So we have to take into account both hands to come to a conclusion. Just give me 1 minute. So I was talking about the Mercury mount on the left hand. Now we take a look at the Sun mount. See, the Sun mount is under the third finger, and under the third finger I find that the heartline, just above the heartline and below the third finger, I find that there's a strong sun line. See, some people say the sun line is basically for name and fame and all these kind of things, and they say that it is for luck. Basically, I say it in a different way. I basically say that if the sun line is good, it means that the person is kind of energizing their work. And this is all happening much better after the age of 53. That's the approximate age, I would say. And it's not that the person would venture out into something else. It is in his own work, the person, when he starts to give more energies to his work, the work is going to basically become better. So it's something like that. Now we come to the sun line, the money line. In the early period of the person's life, we find that the money line starts close to the lifeline. This is the lifeline, and basically starts and moves forwards. But before it touches the headline, it basically ends. So somewhere at the age of 33, 34, that's when it ends. Another line basically starts from the mount of moon, and that basically, again, that also ends before it touches the headline. So somewhere at the age of 34, it also ends. A line coming from the mount of moon, basically it means that benefits coming to this particular person from trading activities, service industry, and help from females. It could be after marriage or something like that. Now the money line again starts somewhere after beyond the headline. This is the headline I've drawn. So the age at which the new basically money line starts somewhere at the age of 30, 37 or so, and it kind of again kind of vanishes. It is vanishing somewhere after it touches, it crosses the heart, and this is basically the heart line. So the intersection is 53. That's when it kind of vanishes, and then new lines are basically developing. And there are numerous kind of lines. So it is not necessary that you should have 2, 3, 4 lines of money. Even a single line is basically good enough. So it doesn't matter if you have got 1, 2 or 3. Those lines should be deep and clear. That's what basically matters. Now I basically take a look at the right hand. See, in the right hand, again the indications appear to be a little bit similar. What I've mentioned in the left hand. I'm just choosing the best image so that I can take a look at it. So Same indications can be seen on the headline at the intersection of the money. Just give me one moment. See the intersection of money line and the headline. This is when our island is formed out here. So mental worries could have taken place somewhere at the age of 35, and even before that, it appears that the headline it has basically kind of a backward kind of lines, small backward kind of lines that can be seen on the headline, pointing towards the mount of Mars negative. This is Mars negative. The Mars negative is not a bad planet, it's a very good planet, but the headline moving towards the mount of Mars is generally not considered to be good, because it brings in anger and aggression in one's mind, and anger and aggression in our thought process is a wrong sign to have. But in this hand, there is a very unique kind of a sign, and a very good sign that can be seen, and it's basically a protection line, and it is protecting the person from all possible things, everything. It could be financial crisis, it could be mental worries, it could be anything. So this, I will just draw that particular line. I'm drawing the lifeline first, and then I'm drawing the supporting lifeline. See, this supporting lifeline that I have drawn right now out here, this is a rare line to have. Many people are going to be having this particular line that I have drawn, but they might have it in bits and pieces, very small kind of lines that can be seen. These smaller lines, they also are good lines, but having a long parallel line running close to the lifeline is the best. If you take a look at famous people's few famous people, I would say that in the hand of Mamata Banerjee, Sonia Gandhi, Subrahmanyam Swamy, and many other people, Chidambaram, many other people, this line can be seen. It means this line basically provides that because it's starting on the mount of Mars. Mars is a red planet. Red means anger, aggression, and fire. So it means that the person has got fire within him. It means that the person is able to reignite. It may be that the life basically stops, everything stops for him, but yet he would be able to re-kickstart his life again at any particular age. So this is one of the best sign to have, and it is kind of it is an armor around this particular person, and it is protecting this person from all possible problems in his life. So this line is a beautiful kind of a line to have, and it is not necessarily only protecting the person from bad health or accidents or any other thing. It is also protecting the person from emotional turmoil. It is also protecting the person from head injuries or any or mental worries or any such thing. Another aspect of this particular line is that it is kind of the fighting spirit within us. It is basically if somebody tries to fight against this particular person, they would not be able to win in such a situation. And even if this person loses the battle, even then it would appear that he has won the battle. So that thing is this is a beautiful sign to have, and it is kind of protecting him from all possible problems in his life. If we look closely, we find that somewhere before the age of around the age of 40 or so, that the lifeline also appears to be a little bit unclear out here. It's a little bit unclear, and it's kind of a broken also. And this break, although it is there, but the new line that is starting is kind of overlapping, like the lifeline comes and it kind of ends out here, and a new line is overlapping. This line is basically overlapping. So even when there is a break, it is not such a bad sign, because overlapping lines basically means increase of fire and increase of energy, because Mars is basically the fire and Venus is basically the energy and stamina. So see, overlapping basically means that it might have happened in some way that there could have been major issues, major problems, and the person is living at, let's say, 5,000 feet, and suddenly the person starts to live at 12,000 feet. So it is somewhere increase in his fire and energies that bring about these things. So maybe some positive events that might have taken place, those things happen and things basically become better. Now in the right hand also the same indication regarding the money thing happens, that in the initial period the money line is starting somewhere close to the lifeline. This is basically the lifeline, and one of the branches from the money line goes into the line of life. This is basically the line of life, and it's kind of pointing towards the Mount of Mars. The Mars, again, it's not a bad planet for money, but the money line should not go towards that. So losses could happen due to this particular aspect. But at the same time, like I'm just going to redraw the money line. This is the money line, and there are few branches that are coming from the Mount of Moon. This is the Mount of Moon, and joining into the main money line. So it basically brings in benefits and all, and before the money line touches the headline, this is the headline, and before it touches the headline, again there's a break kind of a situation. So those things could have happened, and there could have been problems before the age of 35, and these problems could be of three types. The first could be that there could have been, because the money line is breaking up, so it could be money losses, or job loss, or money loss. The second could be the main earning member of the family, their health or wealth basically gets affected. That's the second aspect that could have played out. And the third aspect could be the personal life could have been disturbed, and that is why the person might not have been able to concentrate on his work, and that's the reason problems might have cropped up. The other aspect is when the money line starts somewhere at the new line starts at somewhere at the age of 33, then it moves forwards. After it crosses the headline, this is the headline, then it forms a V-like portion, and this V-like portion is generally considered to be good. It's happening somewhere close to the age approximately 40 or so, 40, 41. That's a beautiful aspect. Another line of money starts parallel to the main money line somewhere from the age of 35 or a little bit earlier also, and continues parallel till the age of 50, 53. So parallel incomes could be expected. As far as the sun line goes, in the initial period the sun line is a little bit dim in the right hand, and dim lines are generally not considered to be good. It's all happening before the age of 35. So in the earlier period of the person's life, the light sun lines, very dim sun lines, basically these are the sunlight that we see, these are barely visible. It means having doubts in the person's life, and doubts basically is the worst possible thing. Basically it doesn't take us to our full potential. Then suddenly somewhere in the middle of the head and the heart line, somewhere out here, the line becomes much more stronger. So somewhere at the age of approximately 39, 40 around, that's when the sunlight becomes much better. It means something like light clouds in the sky. Light clouds means that sometimes there are clouds. When there are clouds, the work is not so good, and when there are no clouds in the sky, the work becomes better. So this is all happening from somewhere at the age of 40 to, let's say, 55 or so. Then beyond the heart line, the line becomes extremely good, and once we find an extremely good line of sun, a good line of sun basically signifies no clouds in the sky. It means people would say this is a luck sign, but I would say that it's not the luck sign. It is basically the person is energizing his work, and that is the reason why better work possibilities emerge in his own work, whatever he's doing. It's a beautiful aspect. So people who have a prominent sun line just below the sun finger and above the heart line, it basically signifies that they never retire in life. So this is never retiring doesn't mean that they are required to work. It's just that they love to work, and they are productive. So that's the reason they are contributing to the society and to their family, and as such. Coming back to the heart line, see, heart line, this is the most important line I refer to for success or failure, and the deeper and the clearer the line, the better it is considered to be. But I find out here the line is a little bit branching out. There are lots of branching out here, and branching out of the heart line basically signifies that the person has this nature of having attachments in his life. The attachments bring in expectations. Expectations are not fulfilled. That is the reason why disappointments basically creep in. So it is said that if you go to any saint, they would say that practice detachment, follow the principles of Gita. Gita says practice detachment. And what is detachment? Like, it is basically being in a moment without having expectation of the outcome. This is what you should practice. And the branches over the heartland means getting distracted. It means not being able to focus. It basically means carrying the extra baggage of the past disappointment. So this is not what you have to do. You have to like kind of focus your energies to a singular area. This is when success is going to come to you, and this is for everybody. So so a heartline that has these branches and it's a little bit unclear, it means that the person is not being able to commit themselves. See, commitment is required. You have to commit yourselves to a single thing, single goal. And once you do that, everything basically falls in place. Although the heartline is good in the other aspect, because it's ending on the Mount of Saturn, it means whenever the opportunity arises to make money, they are extremely good. They would you would make good amount of money. There are many good aspects on the palm that I've already elaborated, and that's it for now. I hope you like this particular video. If you like this video, click on the like button and do subscribe to my channel. And before I end my video, people want to know about money, possessions and wealth. We can come to know about money from almost any line: heart line, head line, life, sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, or any other line. Importance of money line is just 15% in terms of money. So this is how less the importance of money line is. I have not talked much about the money line. I have talked about the other lines. A saint once said, you do not need to go to an astrologer or palmist to know about your future, because you already know your future. Present is a result of past. How will be my future? Future depends upon what you are doing in the present. What are we? We are product of our thoughts. So the thoughts that come to our mind are really important. Keep positive thoughts and keep good company, because even if you have something bad in your hand, it doesn't matter much, because if you are in the right company, they would take you in the right direction. Thanks, bye, and